Hey everybody, it's Scott with Football Scoop. Very happy to have Bob Eblen, the national columnist with D2 Football, back with us again to talk about Week 2 of the D2 brackets, or the playoffs. Week 1 was, tell me about it, Bob, it was great. It looked like most of the favorites won. I know I caught a couple of the games, and certainly some good football. Tell me about Week 1, Bob. Was there anything that caught your eye, real short, and then we'll jump into the future?
Well, it was, like you said, it was a great week. There was some close games. There's a couple of big comebacks. There was there's two games I can think of where there was at least a 15-point deficit that teams came back from in the second half. One was Northwest Missouri State coming back to beat rival Missouri Western. Just like last year, they rallied from a big second half deficit and came back and beat their rival. That was certainly a game to take note of last week. Probably the most interesting game, in my opinion, was Wayne State, St. Cloud State. It was a game played at St. Cloud State, the higher seed. They were pretty heavily favored coming into the game. I'd guess maybe a touchdown favorite or something like that. It was played in a snowstorm. They had 6 inches of snow in the first half of the game, had to delay the game close to an hour at halftime, sweep the field, and Wayne State was down 21-6 in that game. Paul Winter's team came back, scored a whole bunch of points in the second half. They had a running back, Davis, I think it's Tony Davis, that had 328 yards rushing in the snow, if you can believe that.
That's crazy.
Against a great defensive team. And they came back and won the game, the first playoff win ever, so it had to be exciting for them.
An hour-long halftime clear the field of snow. That's interesting. Love it. All right, let's jump into the brackets. So we've got 8 games in the second round. And, Bob, I'm going to start with the Winston-Salem bracket. Do me a favor. Just talk about one of the games up there. We've got Winston-Salem versus Cal and Kutztown and New Haven.
Well, I think to me the most interesting game there is Winston-Salem State and Cal. Winston-Salem, coached by Connell Maynor. 2 years ago, they actually left Division II about 5 or 6 years ago. We're going to move to Division I FCS. Mm-hmm. 2 years ago, they aborted that decision, came back to Division II, and Division II gave them immediate playoff, even though they have some carryover talent probably in their roster. And they've done what you would think they might do, and they've played very well. They're 11-0, and they're playing against a California team coached by John Lockhart. Always one of the most talented teams in all of Division II. They've won the Region 3 of the last 4 years. Didn't quite play up to expectations at times this year. Lost a couple games they probably shouldn't have, but they're playing their best ball right now. And I see that as really being a good game. It could really go either way. That's a very hard game for me to pick.
It's a good one. All right, I'm going to jump you over to the Delta State region. North Alabama, West Alabama went at it last week. North Alabama got the win this time after West Alabama beat them in the regular season. So now we got another game where they've already played each other with Delta State and North Alabama. What do you see there?
First time they played was overtime. Delta State came back, 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter, ended up winning the game in overtime. These two teams have quite a history of, they always play, they're both in the Gulf South Conference, they always play in the regular season, and I believe 3 of the last 4 times they met in the playoffs. They met in the playoffs every year except like 2008 of the last 5 or 6. The team that's lost in the regular season has won the playoff game, which is, it's very interesting. It happened last year. Delta State lost to UNA in the regular season, absolutely blew them out in the playoffs. So I really think Terry Bowden has got North Alabama playing at a high level. They really look good. Took it to West Alabama last week. It's going to be another great game, but I really think North Alabama will continue that trend. They'll go down there and they'll get Delta State this weekend.
That'd be a fun one to watch. I think Ron Roberts will have something stored up for him. We'll see.
Yeah, he definitely will.
All right, jumping down to the Colorado State-Pueblo region. They're playing Minnesota-Duluth. That's a titanic matchup, right?
I mean, it's, as we talked last week, Colorado State-Pueblo, new program. Coach John Wriston there has done a phenomenal job. I just know from covering this division, he's one of the most highly regarded coaches in all of Division II, playing against a Minnesota-Duluth team that, in my opinion, Bob Nielsen, there isn't anybody in Division II that does a better job than him. And the defending national champs, they won 2 of the last 3 national championships. Not quite as talented this year, going on the road against an undefeated team. I think Colorado State Pueblo is favored, maybe a little bit, but you take a national championship team like that just knows how to win, and you never count them out until somebody beats them. So that is going to be another great game, Scott.
There are great games everywhere. All right, last bracket. We've got Midwestern State and Northwest Missouri. We've also got Washburn and Pitt State. All right, take your pick. Which one do you want to talk about?
Well, I think both, really. I mean, it is two great games. 2 weeks ago, no, check that. 3 weeks ago, Washburn went down to Pittsburgh State, handed their only loss of the season by 18 points. Kind of shocked them, I think. First team all year that had really taken it to Pittsburgh State's defense. I don't know what to expect this week. Washburn is not a great defensive team, but Pittsburgh State, I think Pittsburgh State will get them. Scott, I really do. I think that they'll make the adjustments. They'll come back and win this game. The other game, Midwestern State, top-ranked team in our pool, Northwest Missouri State, been in 5 of the last 6 national championship games. They won this region 6 years in a row. You know, it doesn't get much better than that. I think Northwest Missouri State's got a little bit better team. I really do. Midwestern State, Bill Maskell's got a great team. He's got a great offensive line. They can really run the ball, but Northwest has got so much speed and offense, that nice Texas weather this time of the year.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Bearcats, but again, that's another great game.
I love it. We got some great games Saturday, all Saturday afternoon. Should be a lot of fun. Next week we come back. We got 4 games, and I'll ask you to dive into all 4 next week. Make it a little bit more challenging, but this is a lot of fun, Bob. I really appreciate it. Everybody, we need to jump over to D2 football and make sure everybody's there to get the latest in what's going on in all these games. And Bob, I tremendously appreciate you taking the time.
No problem, Scott.
All right, we'll see everybody next week.